How do you live with God? If you're like me, you start out each day with what you want to do, and you think, oh, I'll check in with God later, or maybe Sunday, maybe, whenever. In my case, I don't always get to wait. A few years ago, as Abigail and I were about to sit down to breakfast, I got the command, do not eat. Pretty pointless, inconvenient, but I try to be obedient, and so I just sat there for, maybe 20 minutes, and then you can eat now. In those days, I would get a lot of these commands, and since I wanted to be faithful, and they were really harmless, I would always try to follow them as best I could. But then one morning, it was not harmless. Something was at stake. I went out to my car to go into work. The voice said, do not go to work. Lord, do you realize I have to get a grant proposal in today? Of course. Well, I always tried to be faithful, but I was running an organization. It depended on grant money. What on earth was I to do? I sat there perplexed. But I thought, well, this foundation has supported us year in, year out. They probably are not going to pull the plug because a proposal goes in one day late. So I started back in. You can go to work now. Well, after that, at that point, I'd keep getting these commands, but I thought, the way a teenager does, I'd found the loophole. After that, I would get one of these pointless commands, and I would just right away say, well, of course, Lord, whatever you want, Lord, I'll just do it, Lord, no problem. Now lift the restriction. That never, ever, ever, ever worked. To this day, if I'm trying to get guidance in prayer, should I do A or B? And maybe I really want A to be the answer and don't want to do B, I have to get myself to the point where I'm equally willing to do whichever God wants me to do. Well, there were so many of these arbitrary commands in those days that Abigail got worried. She said, it's more like boot camp than communion with God. A good point, I thought, and it was weighing on my mind the next day as I stopped by Boulder's late lamented bookstore to pick up a couple of items. Then on the way out to the register, there was one of these book displays, and I felt guided to buy a particular book, one I certainly would not have bought on my own. But I bought it, went out, opened it, and there, in bold-faced letters, were the words of the people of Israel when they accepted the covenant. Everything God has spoken, we will do. Everything God has spoken, we will do. Later, and I'll have to read you this because it was a little bit longer, I was told you need purification. Transformation is a good word. It is obedience, which at its fullest is transformation. Well, what does that involve, Lord? Putting me first rather than last. Living every moment, making every decision in response to my call. How do I go about doing that? You know this. Start every day with prayer and let prayer guide you through the day. Well, I tried that and it did help, and for a while I did better. But then I would slide back into my old habits. Lord, I know I should try to live each day in response to your purposes. That is right. Not just do it mechanically like a soldier following orders, but to do it as an organic flow, wishing to be in touch with me and to live in accord with my will, my love. Yes, I always think of you pushing me rather than my being drawn to you. I respond to orders rather than seeking union. That is good. The shallow seeking of union with me is a delusion. The goal is to be in tune with me. This is not just a matter of doing your duty. It is coming into alignment with me, like two singers doing a harmony. Well, how do singers do that? Well, first of all, they listen. They listen carefully, acutely, especially to the one setting the key and the one marking the beat. And then they watch for their cue and chime in, making music and meaning and beauty. You might try that. Each day, listen to God, watch for your cue, don't hold back, chime in, and live that day as a duet with God. Why not? If this speaks to you, please subscribe and like, and share it with your friends. It might be just what they need to hear today.